Good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining me for another episode of Cryptocurrently. Hope you guys are having a fantastic evening. It has been a pretty good day for us Cryptopians out there, all right? Pretty good day for the altcoins. I'm joined tonight by my guest, Calem, coming in live all the way from Australia. Calem, how are we doing tonight? All right, man. Cool, dude. Sorry, just let me pop this chat over here so I can see. I was having problems this morning. Uh, I was having problems this morning with chat. So, all right. So hopefully now I can see everything. Guys, let me know if the Oh shoot. Okay, your audio is muted. All right. Say hi again. Sorry about that.
Hi. Oops.
All right. It's all a working process, man. So again,
Yeah,
joined tonight from Australia with Calem, man. So how are we doing?
yeah, very good. Very good indeed.
Cool, man. So we're going to get right into it. I've got your website pulled up, guys. It's zero-zed.com if you guys want to follow along and check it out. And I've got my hard-hitting questions pulled up. Calem, so let's just start with you, man. Who are you? Yeah, who are you?
Well, I mean, my name is indeed Calem Smith. I figured, the best way to sort of use my name is to literally brand it. So I figured, why not? It's a unique first name, so Google's a CEO of that. Yeah, Australian. I'm 32. I'm a Gemini. I really don't know, man. I can't talk about myself, but what I can talk about is when I got into crypto and stuff like that.
Yeah, sure, man. So yeah, what's your history with cryptocurrency? When did you first get involved with Bitcoin? And what have those experiences taught you? What's your experience been like?
For a start, an absolutely incredible experience. It's pretty much directed and led my entire life for a number of years now. I came across it when it was like about $20, and I saw I mined a couple. I went to visit the folks on a holiday and stuff, and grabbed mom's old shitty laptop, set that to CPU mine, and I picked up a couple over the course of a couple of weeks and whatnot. And I'm like, yeah, okay, cool. There was no way to sort of sell crypto in Australia at the time, and then the price tanked to $2, and I'm like, huh? And checked out the inflation model and was like, oh, fuck this shit, I'm out of here. But I should have hung around, obviously, because I came back in when it was at $200 a piece, and I followed that all the way to 1,000, obviously, and I managed to get probably halfway through the last lull. It was 2016, 2017 that I sort of stepped back into crypto again after having a break from the 2013 bout. That was when I project managed for Feathercoin. Pretty much one of the first things I did when I came back into crypto was like, fuck yeah, I'm gonna mine. I wanna get these GPU rigs. I was looking at all this stuff online and whatnot. Everyone's got these like big sexy racks. It's like, fuck yeah, got to do that. And God, the amount of fun, seriously, the amount of fun I had with mining back in the day was great. But yeah, no, that was with Feathercoin. Let's see if I can skim over a few things. But yeah, pretty much I left. I left Feathercoin in an attempt to do this project. I should have the website there by referring to that. But anyway, and that didn't work out. So I kind of had a break. But I came back and during the big build up and whatnot, dug up all my old all the old dust of all my old shit coins and went through, found one that actually was worth something. It was just like, hell yeah, $10 worth of mining now worth $1,000. And the volume's there to sustain the sell like a billion times over. This is incredible. So I jumped into that community. That was the Bellacoin community, and there's some devs there doing some bits and pieces and whatnot. And it started to become very apparent to me that they had no clue what. No offense to develop coins. They didn't really have much of a clue what they were doing. They had to speak. They had that Komodo gravity well bug, and they're completely unaware of it. I'm sitting there going, "Oh, guys, you kind of want to do something about that before you start to ramp up, more users, because it's going to become a problem." And they did nothing about it. And like after a week, obviously we started experiencing block hanging for up to 20 hours. And I was just like, "No, guys, sorry, I warned you, I'm out of here. You didn't listen to me." And that's where I met Hiatus. And that's where the story of Zeros begins. That's where I met Hiatus and some other random guy, can't even remember his alias anymore, sort of asked Hiatus and I had to help him out with a sports betting website. And I'm not going to have anything to fucking do with gambling. Unless, because, I kind of had this idea where you could technically make gambling fair by having it so that the company running the books and whatnot, they have a 0% edge. They make absolutely nothing at all. So it would have offered the best bets, the best odds, or whatever. And this was going to be using your standard. Anyway, that project didn't work out either. He ended up like bailing because I think maybe he couldn't afford the licensing. And but that said, Jan is whoops, sorry. Well, your name's on the white paper anyway. Hiatus and I developed the algorithm for the inflation model, and we pretty much had nothing to do with it when that dude failed. So we just sort of sat on it. And at the start of this year, I said, "Fuck it," and started digging around to see if I could find, some sort of tutorial on how to, fork a coin yourself. And believe it or not, yes, there's a YouTube tutorial to fork the old Litecoin code base. So that's what I did. I kind of did a whole heap of Googling through Stack Overflow and the Ubuntu forums, and I learned what libraries were and what dependencies were, and I flipped over to Linux full time, for the first time in my life, and I started to learn everything I could, and I forked Litecoin, rebooted it from start and whatnot. Gave ourselves an 8% pre-mine, 25 million total coins, but that's going to get completely saturated in the future anyway. After 5 years, we're going to be retargeting supply, but that's all in the white paper. Yeah.
Well, man, so that's what you're currently working on is the ZeroZed project, and that's what you're referring to in the white paper, correct?
Yeah. Well, I'm still sort of debating with myself as to whether or not I like ZeroZed to be used for anything at all, like the ZeroZed ecosystem or this or that. But the coin itself is called Zeros. Well, that's how I pronounce it in my head. But it really doesn't matter because the ticker symbol is X0Z. The X meaning basically just a variable, or X the cryptography, I guess you could say. And the ZeroZed is actually a term from statistical. I just want to make sure that I use my words correctly. Standard score. ZeroZed, a data set statistics where the standard score is 0. We can't see that at all, can we?
No, not really. Not quite at all.
You were able to do a screen share, right?
On your phone, you also could just give me the website and I could pull it up.
That's okay. People might be able to see just fine. It's known as the normal distribution.
So Gaussian normal density function, the standard bell curve algorithm.
Yeah, sure, that'll do.
In statistics theory, it's called the Gaussian normal distribution, or the Gaussian normal density function.
Okay, yes, Janos was talking about something rather Gaussian at one stage, so that's what that was all about. So anyway, the idea is.
I was just 80. It states that when you take enough random variables of a sample size, of data with outliers, you're not sure, what the range is going to be. That on average, 86% of your sample size is going to fall within one standard deviation of your mean with your outliers.
Basically, so that's kind of what we want to aim for wealth distribution in society. Okay. Now, naturally, you can't have the bulk of the money all in the lower class. That's just not going to won't happen. And at the moment, the bulk of the money is all at the upper spectrum of the upper class. I'm hoping, that society could one day get to a point where, the bulk of that wealth is distributed, a lot more evenly. That's kind of the whole point of everything behind what I'm doing.
All right, cool, man. So let's see here. Let me pull up the questions that I had for you. So first off, obviously, like, what does I think the first people understand where you're coming from is the issue that you see with the Bitcoin, with the Bitcoin inflation model. Like, so what is the problem that you see with the Bitcoin? You had said that earlier, like you had bought Bitcoin when it was $20, crashed down to $2, and then you said you looked at the inflation model and, to use your words, said fuck that. Yeah. So what was it? Yeah. What was the issue that you saw back then that inspired you to work on what you're doing now? And what is that issue?
Because of the space that I came from and the space that I was involved in at the time, and just, I don't know, the way the internet was, I guess, the mid to late 2000s. There's a lot of MLM, multi-level marketing bullshit going on, a lot of Ponzi stuff. And the split second I saw the inflation model, it was like, no, that's bullshit. That's I'm sorry, I call bullshit on that. I'm not having any part of this, and that's why I walked away. It's literally perfectly designed so those who get in first get to make all the money, and they require extra people to come in behind them for the supporting volume so they can exit at a profit. I mean, this is the very definition of Ponzi. The technology behind Bitcoin, I fucking love it. It's brilliant. It will free the world. But the way that the inflation model has been done, like literally, like this is the thing, right? Like, I think Satoshi was either an idiot or, didn't have the best intentions in mind, or, I mean, I personally believe that Satoshi was without a doubt multiple people, and the majority won out, obviously. But I reckon there should have been a minority part of Satoshi that, would have pitched this model, because it only makes it. Yeah, so think about it like this, okay? 80% of the Bitcoin has already been mined, right? You got 20% remaining. Only something like 0.1% of the world has onboarded on the crypto. You've got like a bottleneck, a supply demand, an extreme supply demand disequilibrium. It couldn't be worse. Fiat has a less centralized supply than crypto technically. Yeah, I'm sorry if I'm triggering a lot of people here.
No, I mean, my only question to that is that I've never heard of anybody not being able to buy Bitcoin, though. I've never heard of somebody entering into a supply issue. I mean, you can go to Coinbase and buy Bitcoin. You can get a Circle and buy Bitcoin. So
that's not what I mean. The supply demand issue here is the fact that volatility is literally baked into the economics of this thing. You will never get a stable Bitcoin, is what I'm trying to say. Doesn't matter how much adoption there is.
But that's based on the idea that stability is the key. Like, nobody minds volatility as long as it's profitable volatility. Like, nobody was complaining about the volatility of Bitcoin when it went from 1,000 to 20,000.
Of course not. It's psychologically set up so, people become invested. It's a competitive-based incentive model, okay? It's within your best interest to create your own coin and compete. And it's because of the inflation model. Change the inflation model, change the incentive model. When you change the incentive model, you won't see a sharding in the technology, and you won't see so many different competing technologies. You'll only see new networks when it's absolutely required, and those networks will generally be to prove and share, a solution to the legacy chain, which, in my opinion, is Bitcoin ABC and Unlimited. I like the way Unlimited thinking.
So just to make sure I'm following your train of thought, the issue that you see with Bitcoin is that it's not fairly distributed, and because it's not fairly distributed, that is creating incentive for other projects to fork off and create their own coins or start their own coins, Ethereum, etc.
Other way around. Because the inflation model, right? The amount of coins in existence isn't matching the amount of new people coming into the space. Okay, the amount of new coins, basic economics. I'm not very good at explaining this.
No, it's okay. I'm just listen. My point comes down to human psychology and economics. So the idea, what caught me about what you said is that, I mean, just to and allow me to give you an opportunity to clarify if I'm taking your words out of context. But you said that you were referencing the supply-demand issue with Bitcoin and the inflation model, and the fact that 80% of the 80% of Bitcoin had already been mined, and 0.1% of the Earth's population were onboarded onto crypto. Now, doing the math on that, that means that 0.001% of the population would have 80% of the world's Bitcoin, or let's say that 30% of the world's Bitcoin. Okay, but that's still quite insane. We can just agree with the mathematics on that. Looking at
it's not really so much the balance of Bitcoin supply within people who already have Bitcoin. The problem is the fact that it doesn't the balance, the distribution of Bitcoin within people who have onboarded does not matter. Not what I'm talking about. What matters is actual global onboarding. The total amount of people in the world who have yet to even buy or mine or receive their first free, Satoshi. I'm talking, even if it's just one Satoshi, that person is counted as onboarded in when you're talking about the diffusion of innovations theory. The diffusion of innovations is something that's been well understood for a long time. That's a whole Wikipedia page. But that's basically what the inflation model of ZeroZed is based on, the diffusion of innovations. The point of using this curve is because it's the anticipated or expected rate of adoption for technologies that become fully diffused throughout society. So as much as it's a static curve, what you could do is you could make it variable, right? If you use the right crypto legislation, you could say, smart contracts that self regulate the supply, the fee schedule, stuff like that. The stuff that we normally need the government to do for us. Forgot what I was talking about.
Let me go back to an earlier question. Hey, sorry, I just want to give some shout outs into the chat. Thank you guys for watching us this evening. We got Malicious Upload, Joey Rocket Crypto's in the house, Your Crypto Daily, Crypto Friends, Johnny Boy Crypto, Mastache as always, Real Stogger Roach. Hope you are not late to class this morning. Thank you for joining us this evening. And Stephen. I don't know if it's Stefan or Stephen. I'll take it. Either way. So going back to your earlier point, so looking at diffusion of innovations, okay. And again, I read this before we asked, and this is essentially, yeah. Well, I mean, I like to prepare for interviews, and the thing that strikes me about this is that this is essentially this is an this is more a sociological experiment and a theory, which I agree with, that just tracks how innovations are tracks how technology and innovations are diffused across society. And I understand from looking at your models that you think that the main issue lies in the fact that, again, the over 80% of Bitcoin has been mined, 4/5 of Bitcoin has been mined, and we are not even in the early adopters phase. However, the only thing that I can think of is just all the information that we have pouring out about, like, for example, and going back to kind of like a supply demand issue. I mean, like, $1 million worth of BTC was just purchased OTC. And that's $600 million worth of Bitcoin that could have been purchased non-over the counter, that could have been purchased through Coinbase or Square or Circle. But it's just that individuals are choosing not to do that. You are having individuals choose to do that. Those are institutional grade investors, and they tend to be smarter with capital than retail grade investors. And again, from my calculations and my estimates, there's 21 million Bitcoin, and Bitcoin can be divided down to the eighth decimal point. And so that leaves like 0.003 BTC for every man, woman, and child on the face of the earth.
It's irrelevant at this point now.
Because you don't believe that it will.
Okay. Basically, the average person, right? Like, people who aren't nerds, people who aren't the entrepreneurial types who like to figure out ways to make a living without having to have a regular job. Okay? Average Joe will the second average Joe sees the inflation model of Bitcoin, they just be like, what the hell? Like, seriously, go show anyone the other chart of how the Bitcoin's basically already come out, and we've got 120 years for the last 20% to come out, and only 0.1% of onboarded. The average person can see that as a Ponzi. Do you think the average person will adopt this? Cryptocurrency, as it stands right now, is not designed for the average everyday person. Okay, it's not designed for what people spout about banking the unbanked. Okay, all we're doing is creating a type of currency, right, that will help save people with lots of money even more money. That's all we're doing. And the Lightning Network is a bloody brilliant example of that.
So so are you saying that there is nothing to having a blockchain, to having decentralized currency, to being your own bank, to not having centralized authority, to having proof of work, keep the mining process honest, and keep a network secured without a central point of failure? So there's no benefits to Bitcoin, like it's just a Ponzi scheme, or just the way that it was distributed as a Ponzi scheme?
It's just the inflation model. So I personally think that the intent when Bitcoin was launched wasn't that it was going to be the one true master coin and it was going to be the one that becomes successful. Okay, it was a literal minimal viable product with a white paper that wasn't complete.
Okay, I got a couple questions for you here in the chat, but before we get to them, I just want to continue on this point for a little bit. So,
yes.
All right. So, how about this? The diffusion of innovations. Do you consider the United States dollar a Ponzi?
It's a really interesting question, actually. My immediate answer is that no. I'm trying to justify why.
Right, because that's my follow-up is now justify your position. And that's fine. Like, I'm not, I am putting you on the spot, but
no, this is good. I love this. This is what it is for. Let me think. So why isn't a Ponzi game something that obviously?
Well, here, go down the path with me, and we'll see where we agree or disagree. So we can clearly, I mean, this is like, all you have to do is turn on the news and you'll hear ranting and raving about the 1%. Like, we are well aware that the majority
of where I came in from. That's where I came in from.
Right. So we're well aware that the mass majority of United States dollars, which is the world reserve currency at the moment, is in the hands of gold. Right. Is in the hands of a very small percentage of mankind.
It is.
Yet at the same time, American-style capitalism has lifted half the world out of poverty over the last century, and
bingo. So that's what I mean. Like, there was a huge benefit to society. It literally dragged us out of the Industrial Revolution and, shot us into the pre-stages of the singularity. Crazy. That's what I mean. Like, the system has been excellent, corrupt as fuck, but it's done a lot of good. It's actually had nothing but a massive net benefit on society. So that's why when you said it's a Ponzi, I kind of had to second question myself. But technically, yes, it's a Ponzi, but I wouldn't really view it as one, considering the fact that it's created this amazing world that we live in today. And, we're standing on the shoulders of giants right now.
I agree with that. So where I wanted to go with this analogy is the fact that if the American dollar has, an American style capitalism, but I'm conflating two things, and I'll openly admit to that. So let's keep the actual arguments that I want to make. So the first argument is the more people with capital tend to profit more from financial markets and the way the entire system is set up. Like, 401ks overwhelmingly give money. The stock market overwhelmingly gives money. Like, the housing market overwhelmingly gives money to investors, because that's the way that capitalism works. Like, individuals with large amounts of capital are able to get projects off the ground, and they're looking for large profits, a return on their investment. And then you have speculators.
Works with the state.
Say that again?
It's how capitalism works with the state. When you have capitalism and you don't have a state, you've got what I personally consider, a true form of capital, the truest form of capitalism. At the moment, we've got a pseudo-capitalist society because we've got the state there. By having the state, you kind of have a backdoor for major corporations to sort of duke it out.
Well, yeah. Rank corruption is enforced through the authority of the state. Like, I'm a crypto anarchist, so I'm right with you there. However, even in a stateless society, you're still going to have more intelligent people accumulate more capital. And the world is probably going to end up looking fairly what it looks like today, because just when you rank order human beings, there are responsible human beings, there are human beings that are smart with money, and there are human beings that just, when given a good amount of capital, have the right mind and mentality to just stack that capital and do great things. And when they do that, they tend to provide good for society. Now, the problem with a state society, with a society with a state, is that the state is allowed to enforce fairly arbitrary rules and corporatocracy or crony capitalism or whatever you want to call it, that really allows like non-beneficial corporations that do not benefit society to as much of a degree to flourish, by changing the laws, by having due diligence, or the way that they enforce their actions. So the US dollar is not fairly distributed, yet it has become widely spread out and widely distributed, and is, essentially right now the world currency. So, Bitcoin, I don't think ever set out to, and again, like maybe this is, and again, like I'm segueing this into seeing, the value of your project. So, but I just want to make sure that we cover or very clearly define our terms and our agreements and our disagreements, or where we're coming from, so that our viewers can understand that. Yep. That the issue for where I'm coming from is that I don't think Bitcoin set out to fairly distribute Bitcoin. Bitcoin was an open source project, and those who had faith or knew, which again, yes, obviously fell into a certain subclass of human beings, geeks. And they were the ones who saw the potential in Bitcoin and started mining on their mom's laptop, as you said. And, we're able to stack a lot of Bitcoin, and the ones that have, like held through have profited, and people who sold earlier profited as well and have contributed to the space in many different ways. And now we've reached a level where I think that the technology that Bitcoin has ushered in, whether or not Bitcoin, ends up being what Bitcoin maximalists tend to think it's going to be, it's still ushered in a format for what a world currency should look like: decentralized, no point of central failure. It's state hard. It's hard to government attack. Which was the entire point of Bitcoin in the first place. Was trust, verify, don't trust. So what you're saying is that there's a better way to do it, though.
Definitely. Definitely. Now that the bulk of the world is actually aware of crypto, we can actually, distribute coins a lot fairer. The one of the hugest things that people were trying to, really focus on in 2013 was the concept of a fair launch. Basically, letting everyone know that particular event is coming. Making sure that sources are available already and people are able to compile and people are ready to go, so you can just hit off with a bang. When there were coins that were playing with the idea of basically extremely low block rewards, for the first part, and then it kicks into that standard, Bitcoin halving mechanism model. There were other coins, such as a coin called CoinShield, and that was, to sort of help absorb the emergence of scam coins. So people who end up being bag holders on scam coin networks were able to burn their value and get some of this coin. There were a lot of projects back in the day that were sort of trying to figure out a way that we can fairly, because we've managed to figure out how to make a cryptocurrency that is outside of the control of the government, right? Manipulation from the government. But we don't have a cryptocurrency that's outside of the manipulation of the 1%. If we could, the best possible type of cryptocurrency we can make would be one that would have the least ability to be manipulated by those with the most amount of money. Ergo, the amount of coins coming out needs to sort of match the amount of people, who are adopting the network. That way, the supply grows with the demand. Okay. Now, the problem with this, right, is that you're not gonna get your Lambo, and zeros ain't gonna go to the moon. I'm not saying it's going to be completely stable at the start, so you're going to have a shit ton of fun trading, especially when I get some real volume behind me. And the information that we'll find out from this is incredible. This is another thing that I really want to stress. Okay, if people are interested in my project for investment purposes, then sure, like in the long term, technically, mathematically, it's like it's got to be worth more than probably 10 Satoshi or whatever the heck its base price is going to start out at. Most coins with a supply of 25 million generally start out around there, unless of course you've got a shit ton of coin that's already available to dump. But, if I talk about that, I'll start ranting on about how broken the economics are. Printing tokens are on a parent chain. This is something else that I really want to see the community talk more about, is burning coins. Coin burning is something that is very good, and it can be used very productively. In fact, coin burning can be used to enable things that cryptocurrency currently can't really do. Coin burning is something that can be a built-in automated process, that helps to keep the economics of the economy, the network stable. This is what I was talking about before, sort of self-regulating economic coin, would have smart inflation. It would be a shite ton of algorithms that are keeping an eye on everything else, and doesn't have any centralization. It doesn't need input from us. It just observes itself. I wouldn't say artificial intelligence. It'd be much more like general intelligence. Whatever.
So okay, so let's let's digest some of that here real quick.
Sorry. I'm on the topic. Sorry.
No, you're fine. Let's take a brief pause for the cause here and pull up some questions from the chat. Let's go.
I actually had to close the window. It was lagging terribly.
So let's see here. Just checking out some of these comments. Let's see here. Alchemic J, thanks for joining us this evening. He says, I think the point was a static fixed inflation and any price movement as a consequence of that is a social experiment. Stephen Angus asks, what is your view of Australian Royal Commission on culture attitude to financial services? How does this relate to Bitcoin? I don't know if you know enough about that subject to speak on
I
that.
have a vague understanding of what they're asking, but no, I've certainly not done. I've not put any time into formulating an opinion on that. Can you ask the question one more time?
He's saying, what is your, so I'm assuming that, okay, so he's asking about the Australian Royal Commission on Culture, and he's asking about their attitude to financial services and how this relates to Bitcoin, I'm assuming in Australia.
Oh, okay. Basically, I'm talking about how the government's attitude towards crypto in Australia. I get the feeling that it's actually not so bad. There was a little bit of resistance at first and stuff like that, but once again, I haven't done any research into this lately. I haven't really looked into it, but over the years, it's definitely gotten better. But it has always felt to me that Australia was sort of leading the way. Like we've got big 3, 4 banks. I think it's big 4 they call them. And when one of the big 4, like half of them basically didn't support crypto at the start. A couple of them didn't support it. A couple of them were okay. One of them sort of encouraged it. In fact, I can't remember which one's which, so I'm not going to name names. But very quickly, one of them dropped, but the other 2 sort of became open to the idea. I'm referring specifically to the people that CoinJar bank through. CoinJar have done fucking amazing. CoinJar have done very good things for the space. They've been hard at it for a long time, and so probably the best people to interview would be them. Actually, they would be able to give you a pretty good insight into how the Australian government feels about crypto, because they've been doing it since 2014, I think.
And Real Stogger Roach asks, what do you think about XRP ... the banker's coin?
Well, it's pretty much just a classic example of what they're trying to do. Not trying to do. What cryptocurrency has been, like I said, molded in such. It's been directed and led and molded in such a way that it works out really good for big businesses, especially. And yeah, Ripple is basically what I'd call a corp coin. I sort of dubbed this back in 2013. I said in X amount of years, we're going to see the emergence of corp coins, coins that are owned by corporations. And everyone's like, you can't own a cryptocurrency. Ripple. Tether.
Cool, man. All right. Let's see here. We got a few more questions. Stephen Angus says, will a single global currency happen? Is it worth having? Yes and no.
We're gonna have many global currencies. Like I boil it down to the simplest argument, right? Even if we had one stack of protocols that was the perfect, all-in-one Swiss Army knife of platforms, right? Even if we had that, people still want to have a brand. They want to feel like they're part of a tribe. This is something that this seems to be, human nature. We have a tendency to want to feel represented, but not be away from the herd, of course. So you will always end up with multiple herds. So I can imagine, even if we had an all-in-one piece of technology, you're still going to have different flavors of it. Those flavors, so to speak, representing political ideologies mostly. But you're also going to have you're going to have some really good corp coins. Like I can imagine, like businesses coming up with some really cool ideas, pretty much, rewarding their customers using their own coins. In an anarcho-capitalist society, corporations, there's a video called the Mac coin or whatever about the McDonald's about the Mac walls or something like that. It's an anti-ANCAP video, and I find it absolutely hilarious. But the reality is, from that, you're going to have corporations, with their own coins. It's actually really cool in my opinion, because it means that the average person has basically a zero barrier to entry for investment. Right now, the way everything is set up in society, because of the state, the way that the incentives in society work and the way that everything is set up, it creates a situation. You forget what you're talking about again.
Hey, we've all had that situation, man. Hey, so, okay, cool, man. We've answered some of these questions in the chat. Let's get into, just want to give a shout out, man. We've got about 20 people watching us over Periscope, YouTube, and Twitch. Appreciate that, guys. Appreciate you spending your Saturday evenings with us. And so, listen, we got about 20 minutes left in the interview, or for the stream tonight. So what I'd like to do is, we've talked about a lot. So we've talked about the issue that you see with the Bitcoin inflation model. We've talked about the diffusion of innovations. We've talked about kind of some random stuff that people had some questions about. We've talked about your background. So now just tell me about ZeroZed and how you guys seek to solve this problem moving forward.
Well, just really quickly, there aren't any more questions. That was all of them. Just want to make sure everyone was heard.
Let's see here.
I don't have it open in my head.
Let's see. Steven asked. Apt Up says BTC brought the first wave idea of crypto, then the altcoin boom was the second wave, ICO altcoin hype phase, then BTC crash created the third wave, identifying targeted real projects like XRP. Crypto Kibo back in here shilling his Mibcoin. Hey man, I respect the hustle, dude. Let's see here.
Keep working on it. You'll get, if you got a legitimate project and your heart's in it, keep going, and you'll get there, man. Keep showing.
And I'll say so. Apt Up has a question, and his question is, what is the answer to make sure everyone gets crypto equally? I think that we're going to be getting into that with the question that I asked you. And Crypto Kibo says, I'm broke because I don't see the greatness of Mibcoin. He says, Mibcoin, making crypto great again. I love this dude, man. Making mining great again, sorry. All right, man. Let's see here. Because we're already at the future scars. Sushi Nakamoto killing it in the chat. All right, man. Let's see here. Kibo, you're hired, dude. You could be in the stream, dude. You're funny, dude. I like it. So tell me about ZeroZed and how you guys seek to solve this problem, and simultaneously you will be answering Mr. Apt Up's question.
The way I see Zero's contributing towards this is basically we've got ourselves a pre-mine, and a portion of that pre-mine is specifically for funding projects that already build on pre-existing open source code. Like, for example, and this has got a lot to do with the hash wars recently. Bettercoin developed something known as advanced checkpointing when I was back in the day, and it's controversial. But the direction that it was supposed to head in is eventually it was supposed to become completely distributed. Now, there's a way that you can use this to give nodes essentially power within Nakamoto consensus. And it no longer becomes a matter of devs versus miners. The problem is that anyone can come in and buy a shit ton of equipment, and dominate mining. So the whole centralized mining issue, is solved when basically they'll never be able to mine more coins than what they really. It's got a lot to do with supply and demand, and basically making it so, like, if people want to buy excruciatingly large sums of coin, it will be at the cost of making everyone a lot more well off. And, obviously, the price will naturally recorrect itself. And the byproduct of that is a lot of the wealth, from the larger purchases will technically end up diluted as well into the rest of the networks for the small holders. It's basically like the way that I see cryptocurrency at the moment is it's designed in such a way that it is cheaper and more efficient and better and whatever if you've already got a shit ton of money. It doesn't matter what angle you look at it. The more wealthy you are, the better crypto is. Okay, it needs to be the other way around. Right? You need to be broke as fuck with nothing but a mobile phone on your back. You need to be living on the streets.
That's where that MIB coin could come in handy, according to Crypto Kibo.
Oh, okay.
I'll
have to look into it if that's okay.
No, I just wanted to give a quick shout out. JD, thanks for the sub on YouTube, man. Appreciate the support.
How we solve that problem? Basically, I don't think that we're going to be, some sort of super coin, in the top 10 and something like that. I'm merely trying to set an example, and I'm trying to prove a theory. So our contribution to the space is pretty much either proving or disproving, this model, this theory. Like it means that we can cross it off the list. But if it turns out to be, beneficial for a more stable price and smoother onboarding and greater user adoption and lower fees, preferably zero. I mean, I'd love to get it down to where fees are purely voluntary, but fees can't buy you order in transactions. Well, actually, no. I think miners always need to have a choice about whose transactions they do or don't want to mine. Anyway, variable block reward, something they'll be looking at variable block size, something they'll be looking at next year, and that's basically, that's going to be an open source project, and it's going to be, given to everyone else if they want it, and we're going to pretty much, take a risk and experiment on ourselves. This is something that led me to leave Feathercoin, no fault of their own. I wanted to do some pretty risky stuff, so you couldn't really, I just couldn't really do that. So I had to start my own network and let everyone know, hey, like this isn't a when Lambo, when Moon project, we're going to be pretty boring, to be frank. It's just going to be, I'm hoping to appeal to academics a lot more than and political ideologists. Academics and political ideologists more than your and traders as well, because traders are an extremely important factor here. Okay, traders are the people who keep the price stable. Okay, traders are such an important. This is also part of Nakamoto consensus that it completely leaves this out. Okay, price valuation, price discovery. It's how do you know what the market really supports if you're not paying attention to the value? Like people talking about, the miners have a say, the devs have a say, and you got users who have a say, but people are forgetting about traders. They play an integral role in in all this. So this is why I was very, very happy that someone like yourself was willing to have a chat with me. I've looked at a few channels, and you guys seem to know what you're talking about.
We try, man. I mean, I've gone, one of the things that I was just talking about last night on your Crypto Daily show is the fact that, speculators and traders play a valuable purpose because we take ideas, nothing matters. Ideas are pretty much the most important thing in the world. And then execution of the idea is the only thing before that. Speculators take something that is not valuable today and they transport it in time to a time when it is more valuable. And because of that risk, they incur profit. Is the way
in the diffusion of innovations, In the diffusion of innovations theory, one of the sort of I forgot what the specific word he uses, but one of the defining sort of character types within the innovation phase are basically crazy ass thought leaders who are willing to stick their neck out and really be hated on, sort of saying, hey, this might be cool. Yeah. There's something that would be really good to point out for that. But
So let me go through. We got about 10 minutes left, so I just kind of like
sorry.
bullet points. No, you're fine, dude. You're doing a good job. Let's go through a few bullet points on the ZeroZed website, and just so the users can kind of see what's going on here. So your first idea here is well, first off, I like that the crypto that isn't first and best dressed. ZeroZed completely sidesteps the miss the boat and FOMO mentality that contributes to volatility and instability. So you are trying to create a stable cryptocurrency.
Yes, but don't say stable coin.
Right, no,
not stable coin.
Not stable.
I'm a smart inflation coin.
By the way, breaking news, not breaking news if you guys would have actually read the terms of service for USDC, but Circle reserves the right to actually freeze up your USDC if they think that you're in violation. They have full discretion to do that at any time. So keep in mind, if you do want to hedge yourself against the volatility of Bitcoin, it does look like we're going to go lower before we go higher, guys. If you want to hedge yourself against the volatility of Bitcoin, keep in mind that you do have stablecoin options available. However, those stablecoins come with risk. So USDC, for example, if somebody sends you BTC or USDC, excuse me, from a wallet that they consider dark, then they can just go ahead and lock up your account and move to. That's a positive chart of Bitcoin CVNRO. So I'm going to allow that.
Huh?
Just doing some chat engagement. XRP to the moon as always, crypto friends. Let's see here. So, what was I saying? So yeah. So Circle actually reserves the right to completely lock and delete your USDC. So keep that in mind. There is no safety in using USDC as stablecoin, and USDT. Good luck. I've been bearish on USDT since that damn thing came out. So big blocks work. Staying true to on-chain scaling, will always keep both network fees and transaction times as low as economically feasible. So you are on the Bitcoin Cash side of the argument here that big blocks are good.
All right. Well, that's why next year we're going to be moving to the ABC code base. They've got a whole ton of tools and utility, being built on that code base, databasing. Oh, wow. I mean, and some of the stuff that Ryan was doing is really good too. Unfortunately, I think we may have lost him.
Alex says, or you could just accumulate BTC and not worry about stablecoins. Let's see here. So then will you guys also be enabling the DSVs?
Are you talking about Cecil?
No, I'm talking about the DataSig verify opcodes that were disabled in Bitcoin 0.6, I believe, and that Bitcoin Cash ABC. That's the big split. Like the split between ABC and Bcash SV is that essentially Bitcoin Cash ABC wanted to re-enable opcodes DSV 1 and 2, which would allow for basically Ethereum on Bitcoin.
Yeah, well, Camp ABC.
All right. Let's see here. With cross-chain protocols from atomic swaps to digital securities and tokenization.
The digital securities and the tokenization, I really hope we'll be able to get out of these the smart contract platforms, Bitcoin Cash. And in regards to atomic swaps, I'm working with Komodo, the Komodo founder, just chatting with them on and off and whatnot to see about doing a few things with them. The first being, is like atomic swaps is so incredibly important. Like this is something that we wanted to do, back in the day, and there should be a lot more effort and a lot more focus on the universal atomic swaps standard for all code bases to talk to each other. that's something that I would love to actually try to fund development for. That's the big one. That's the big one. Like out of this pre-mine that we've got, if the coin goes, if Xbox goes to some ridiculously awesome price and has the volume to sustain, selling, incremental amounts in order to fund projects, that funding, I want to go directly towards an interop atomic swaps protocol, like literally cross code based. So we can all, so no offense to exchanges, but in time you won't be needed. And to be honest, exchanges are causing a lot of problems, and they always have. But they've been a necessary evil, in my opinion, for everything to get going. But we're now at a stage where we can move on, and exchanges. The role of exchanges would merely be to be a bridge between fiat and crypto. Preferably, any crypto exchange into crypto exchange, should be done peer to peer.
Gotcha, man.
Big on atomic swaps.
Yeah, no, for sure. They're definitely important, man. I think that's atomic swaps are one of the technological innovations for cryptocurrency that I'm most excited about. Sorry, hey, I just wanted to give a shout out to a supporter. Yagami, my bad. I'm dealing with these different chat applications to see the different ways that all these different chatters from different platforms are chatting. So sorry I didn't get to your question earlier. You said, can we update the Ripple logo in there to the XRP logo? A lot of people hold XRP, and I think it would motivate some buyers. Also, pretty much everyone hates LTC right now, but it seems to be showcased. I'm going to screenshot your question, and I'm going to get that to Scott. Scott, if you're listening, maybe give us some input on that. Scott's the one that designed the merch store, so I bow to his great wisdom and power. But yeah, LTC does seem to be a little bit on the sentiment downslide right here. All right, so built on Bitcoin 0.13, built to follow the tried and true Bitcoin ABC code base, ZeroZed will always remain as secure as the best. So you guys will be, you said that right now you're built on 0.13, but you guys will be enabling the DSVs. So then I assume you're going to be having a hard fork. You said you were going to be doing that next year, so you will be chain splitting and.
Look, like the Bitcoin Cash crew, I prefer to call it an upgrade. There's not really, but whatever. Yeah.
Right, but you will be having a you'll be having a fork.
Oh no, we're moving. We'll be moving to the ABC. Basically, like I said, there's a whole heap of stuff on ABC that I need. Yeah, and
then there are algorithms right here for anybody that wants to go check this out.
Lockstep.
I'm sorry, say what?
I'm following ABC, lockstep. Basically, there's going to be very little difference between zeros and the Bitcoin implementation, Bitcoin ABC.
Except for the inflation model.
Except for a few things. The inflation model for a start. Second of all, I'm not double SHA-256. I'm script.
So will this be profitable for miners to point their hashing power at?
The idea is we expect so. Yeah, we hope so. It's not going to be like your mad gains that you see in bull markets though.
Right.
That's why a lot of people are going to get turned off of this. Whilst all the other coins are pumping like crazy, I expect zeros to not really be moving all too much. But then when everything else is crashing and Bitcoin's coming down, I expect that zeros will come down with everything else because Bitcoin does lead. But what I see is over the long term, and like literally by that I mean like 5 years, because after that, fuck knows. We've got plans to replan, like nothing that is set in stone or limited or necessarily off the table. We're here to just adopt the best technology. But at the moment, ABC is leading, and ABC has the stuff that I need. And we're running on script, so we don't want to be in direct competition, with the hand that's feeding us. You could always think of us like the Litecoin of Bitcoin Cash, like Litecoin was of Bitcoin in a way.
All right.
I'd like to think of ZeroZed as the little brother, of
Bitcoin Cash.
ABC.
Well, you heard it here, guys. The Litecoin of Bitcoin Cash, ABC, may or may not be profitable for miners to point their hash power at. That's snarky.
Look, man, I'm not here to make bullshit promises to you, okay? I'm here to prove or disprove a theory that I've been working on for a very long time.
Gotcha, man.
And I hope to contribute back to the community with code and direction and thought leadership. Stuff like that.
Absolutely, man.
I want people questioning that halving model. That's it. I just want people questioning that halving mechanism.
Yep. That's definitely been a point of contention, man. So listen, guys, it's 9 o'clock here, Central Standard Time. We've got to be going, man. Calem, it was fantastic to have you on the night. We've talked about some really important things, guys. I hope that our viewers have a good idea of where you're coming from, where your issue lies with the Bitcoin inflation model. I hope they've learned a little bit about the diffusion of innovations and how you hope to apply solutions to that using ZeroZed.
A lot of good reading there. If you like reading, I've got reading material.
Yeah, a lot of good reading, guys. Now, the description for, let me just double check, make sure I'm not crazy. No, I'm sorry. The link to their project is not in the description down below. I apologize for that. Let me go ahead and pop that in the chat, and I will update. Oh, that's not right. There we go. I will update the description when I edit the video, when I edit the beginning out, as I always do, and then I add the links in the outro.
Do you have a link to the latest release?
Zero.
It may have been updated.
Can you provide that for me?
I can do that.
If you just want to pop it in the chat or DM it to me, and I can add it to the to the description.
I'll pass it on to you. In the thing afterwards.
All right, yeah. Yep, and then I will add it to the description in the chat, guys. So you guys can, after I edit the video, all the descriptions to this will be for Calem's project will be down in the link below. You guys do your own research and come to your own conclusions. And if you guys are interested in finding Calem, he does hang out in our Discord. You can find him there. And you have your own Discord. So do you want to, I'll drop all those links in the description. Do you want to give the people a brief TLDR? Where can they get a hold of you at, man? Where you at? You're on Twitter? You got a website? What's going on?
Well, I'm on Twitter. We've got a Discord. We've got Telegram. We've got an IRC free node. Massive shout out to Liam as well. Fucking excellent job with all that stuff, man.
Cool. Well, we'll post all those links in the description, guys. Again, Calem coming all the way from Australia for Project ZeroZed, Bitcoin inflation model theory, guys. Make sure you guys are using version 0.13.1, and they can go ahead and start mining this on their mom's laptop right now, right?
Yeah. Currently, network hash rate is actually pretty. Yeah, look, we've only got like 61 mega hash.
Cool. So, guys, go point your laptops over at ZeroZed if you want to get the Litecoin to Bitcoin Cash ABC. All right, let's see here, guys. It's been a good evening. We will just briefly. Quick alert. Sorry, Calem. I'm gonna keep you around for just a second, unless you want to bounce out. But otherwise, I'm just gonna take about 3 minutes here, and we'll just look real quickly. I'm just gonna put you down. Actually, I'm gonna put you up here. Just gonna put you up here if you don't mind. All right, guys, so let's just take a quick look at the markets and see what's going on. Just super brief, guys, just an overview of price action. Bitcoin right where we left it earlier, guys. I was talking about looking for an opportunity for a short position. Looking like we are seeing that right now. Rejection right now from the 55-day exponential moving average, an area that I was targeting earlier. Taking a look at Ethereum still extremely boring right now. I'm still looking for another short entry into Ethereum. Long seem very, very trapped right now looking at sentiment, currently experiencing a little bit of rejection from the 13-day exponential moving average. That's on the 4-hour chart. Moving to the 1-hour chart, we probably see quite a similar thing. Yeah, coming up to rejection from the 55-day exponential moving average. XRP holding its own quite nicely. This is the 4-hour chart, so we'll just go back to the daily real quick. Again, XRP looking pretty good on the daily, closing very strong above that 55-day moving average still, the second day in the row, and now we're closing above our faster moving averages as well. Quite good, quite good. RSI in that nice 50 to 60% healthy growth region. Fisher Transform not in any kind of undersold or overbought position and giving you a nice buy signal as well. MACD a little bit neutral though, which makes sense in this ranging market. So guys, you know, XRP is doing well, holding its own quite nicely as opposed to the other coins, but nothing at this moment in time to get super excited for because we're still in this consolidation period, guys, after this nice pump, all right? You know, so nothing really super excited to get about, no moon talk until we get above 79 cents, really. But really, I mean, we can get back up there if we start closing above these actual local highs, these local high closes at 58 cents. So as long as we remain in this period, pretty healthy consolidation right now. Wouldn't really be worried unless we're closing a daily candle below 44 cents. Maybe start to get a little worried if we close below the 55-day EMA, but it looks pretty good, guys. Looks pretty good. Ripple holding its own pretty good. Litecoin, again, I was saying Litecoin was looking better than BTC and all the others. Looking not bad right now. Looking at the basic on the daily chart. Yeah, a little bit of nice bullish growth there off the bottom. We'll see if we just get slammed right back down. Looking at the lower time frames, looking at the hourly chart, hitting up against that 55-day exponential moving average, looking to get some resistance against that again. But on the hourly chart, if we close above it, we go to the 4-hour chart and we see that we're on the 4-hour chart. We're just trying to get above the 13-day period moving average. So we've got a ways to go on Litecoin, guys. But again, I do think that we move further down before we move further up, and I'll do this live on air just for you fantastic people. Shout out to all the people in the Discord who got into that Neblio call. It accumulated right in the range that we recommended, right around there. Fantastic. Already up, let's see, 3.233% on closing, hitting that 55-day moving average on the hourly chart. Probably get a little bit of resistance from there, but we'll just wait to see if we close. And if you guys are watching from the Premium Signals channel, this is the time to move your stops right on up to break even, or maybe even under our faster EMAs on the hourly chart. But I'll be go ahead and posting that in the Premium Discord right now. Let me just slide on over and do that super quick. Boom. All right, fantastic, guys. Well, let's pay some bills real quick, guys. If you guys like what you see, want to keep us on the air, point your browsers over to cryptocurrency.com. And the most important thing you want to do is go ahead and click this beautiful blue button, which will bring you to our Discord. You can post your charts. You can ask about trading. You can take advantage of our educational materials. You can post funny memes from 4chan. Do whatever you like. I don't care while you're here. If you want to keep me on the air, if you want to keep the lights on, why don't you pick up some of our merch? We are going to be doing some maybe improvements. Oh, I see what you're saying. So you're talking about the logo of Kraken Cryptocurrency. Oh, yeah, you're gonna have to get with Scott on that. That's Scott's baby. So we have an official request from a supporter of the show, Scott. Make the Litecoin logo smaller and the Ripple logo larger. Okay. We'll see about that, guys. But pick up some merch if you want. The ball cap looks really good, and it's getting cold, guys. So pick up a hoodie, guys. If you are interested in boosting your trading skills to the next level, again, you can follow along with our 1 to 2 weekly free signals in the Discord, or if you're interested in one-on-one mentorship or following along with our trade setups personally in our premium Discord, you guys can see what we have to offer in trade services. Scott is currently working on updating this, guys. So that is coming. It's only $49.99 USD a month. And if you guys want to drop us a line, go ahead and give us a contact. As always, you can reach us at contact@krakencryptocurrency.com. Make sure to leave any of your questions, comments, sarcastic remarks, or death threats in the comment section down below. As always, I've been Justin Wise, joined tonight with Calem from Project ZeroZed. Fantastic, guys. Thanks for joining me.
Yeah, I'm gonna get so much hate. It's gonna be great. Fucking please, internet, meme me.
Yeah, meme,
Time to
meme,
develop
meme
my
Calem,
character.
guys. All right, guys. Well, it's been a fantastic night. You know what time it is, guys. Play that outro.